Radiating from the heart of America and stretching from coast to coast and border to border, welcome to OnRadio, the wireless industry's weekly download coming straight from the builders and newsmakers of everything wireless. Your host is Jim Tracy, and this is OnRadio.
Hey, wireless family. We have a super treat today. It's going to be epic. But before we get there, we want to say Happy Father's Day to all of our wireless people. There's a lot of folks out in the countryside who are working hard to provide for their families, and a lot of those guys are dads who work in the wireless industry, and even for those who might find it difficult to celebrate Father's Day. I know that we've got some folks who've lost their fathers recently and stuff like that. But if you're a dad or a granddad or even a substitute dad, we want to wish you a happy Father's Day. And I got a couple of those guys with me. We've got a Father's Day treat. It's actually a double treat. It's Randy Hansen. I've known Randy since, I think, 2014. And his son, a dad in his own right, Ryan Hansen, who is a second generation wireless dude. Guys, welcome to OnRadio. How you doing, Randy?
Real good, thank you.
All right. And Ryan?
Great, Jim. Thanks for having me on again. Always enjoy the broadcast, or the podcast, I should say.
Well, there's a couple of things going on here. Not only are we going to talk about Father's Day, but in the second half of this, probably air a week later, we're going to talk about the legends of wireless. But more on that later. So, Randy, what are you doing for Father's Day?
Barbecue.
Barbecue, okay. And any golf in there or
No,
anything like that?
no, I don't golf much.
All right. Well, what are you making? What kind of ribs or brisket?
I think they're doing steaks.
Okay. Well, you can't go wrong with beef.
No, you can't.
Yeah, there you go. Especially all American beef. Usually, holy cow, better beef. But anyway, Ryan, are you spending your Father's Day in Colorado?
I'm not in Colorado. We are actually traveling to Florida this weekend. My daughter has a national volleyball tournament, so we're Father's Day on the road for the second year in a row.
Oh, so you're over the top dad. I mean, you get dad points for actually traveling during Father's Day. So, all right. So, so no plans other than maybe stopping at Stuckey's and getting a pecan log or something, huh?
That's right. Yeah. Probably no backyard barbecue, be a quick stop at the concession stand.
Or the trunk, or you're going to have hot dogs. So what activity is she doing on the in Florida?
Yeah, so this is a volleyball AAU national tournament. Ironically, Brian McNeese, who is one of our Ontivity family members, his daughter's the same age. They'll also be at this tournament this upcoming weekend. So
they're punching at the same weight class. That's going to be awesome. We got a total family fight here going. So, there's a lot of stuff going on Father's Day. We just want to really wish everybody happy Father's Day, whether you're going to go to church or have great food or go on a bike ride. I know I'm gonna probably swim and fish a little bit, and they're going to feed me a bunch of cool barbecue that I don't have to cook this time. So, but happy Father's Day to all the folks who are out there, and the Hankster too. Happy Father's Day to you. He's a new dad, and that's all cool. But as we get through the Father's Day message, I start thinking about the two of you working together as father and son. And it brings up one of the things that we have talked about a lot to our wireless family is that there are really, truly legends in the game of wireless, even though it's such a young industry. And we have a treat of talking to two of them. Randy, when did you get into wireless?
91.
91. So that would qualify as a really long time ago.
It was.
And and consequently, you've seen a couple of changes. How did you get into the wireless gig?
Well, it's kind of a fluke deal. My stepdad was, when U.S. West New Vector first started, they needed somebody with a license to pull permits for them. So he was doing that, and then they started doing a little building and stuff, and he asked me if I would want to do some of this. So I started doing some building and stuff, and him and the owner of this other company didn't get along too well, so they got rid of him, and I just started doing it.
All right.
Building, buildings and stealth structures and stuff like that. And then after a few years, the other owner, he had some personal problems going on, and
Creates
and,
opportunity.
and Verizon came to me and said, "Hey, you're doing all the work. We're going to give you the contract."
Wow.
And there we went.
Wow, that's incredible. So
And
you're
it-
actually
it-
not a three. You're not a 2-generation wireless family. That actually qualifies as kind of a 3-generation wireless,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Oh wow. And you
Yeah.
got along well enough with your father-in-law to work with him?
My stepdad.
Yeah. Oh, your stepdad. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
Well-
qualifies.
Kind of.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. And so that started in 91. And then when did Mountain Wireless, that's the company you founded, when did that start?
97.
97. Wow. That is really cool. You know, a lot of our folks weren't even born before then
Yeah.
that are working in the wireless gig right now. So then you're kind of thrust in to this opportunity, and so in '97, how many people worked at Mountain Wireless?
We started with, 5?
Yeah.
And that exploded in a year. I mean, it was all of a sudden
Yeah.
it was 10, and then it was 15, then it was 20, and at the same time Ryan was going to college, but he was still working with us here because he's the smart end of the deal here when it comes to all the installation and everything.
Yeah, that happened in our family too.
Yeah, I was the contractor. He was the technical guy.
Well, I got accused of being the knuckle dragger only because it was true. Because I stacked steel when I was a kid, so I didn't know anything more than how to bolt stuff together, and all the technical stuff went to the younger folks. So
I started out as a plumber.
which is a pretty crappy business. Actually, I do need to say so myself. You got to stick in new construction if you want to be a plumber, right?
Yep.
All right. So Ryan, your dad says, "You know what? I don't want you to be a plumber, so you're going to college." Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was, I don't know if there's ever an expectation that I had to go to college. You know, I wanted to go to college, obviously. But, you know, it's funny. I went to college, thought I want to be an architect. And then when I got out of college, I kind of, looked at the business my dad had started. And I could either start at the bottom of an A&E firm, being a CAD draftsman, or I could start at the top of this company. So that's a pretty easy decision.
Yeah. Well, starting at the top means you're the one climbing, and they didn't tell you that on the advertising brochure, did they?
No, that's right. That's right. What do you always say, Jim, about our industry?
This is the industry where we start at the top and work our way down. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
right.
exactly.
We always sent all the new people to Wyoming.
in the winter.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So you got out. You actually went to CU Boulder, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Because I taught one of their engineering classes back in the '80s. So that'll tell you. That'll tell you how generationally absurd we are. But they got a new coach up there. Neon Deion Sanders is going to turn the Buffs around, don't they?
So they say. We're going to find out.
The proof's on the scoreboard. All right.
That's right.
So you got out of school, you jump aboard, and now you're on the team. But you guys only did towers then, isn't that right?
No, we did everything.
Okay.
Yeah, we were a turnkey contractor really from the beginning. Then it was a lot of tower work. I know we built a significant amount of towers in Colorado and Wyoming. But also, Colorado is one of these markets, a heavy rooftop market. So a lot of lot of complex builds along the way. And that's probably where my dad's expertise really shined, having a background in construction for entirety of his life. Those complex projects actually we kind of made them easy, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? There was never a challenge too big.
No.
And then, we also had the opportunity at that time, as probably most contractors, we were also doing all the equipment installs. So
Yeah.
we were fortunate enough to be aligned with Motorola at the time. And we had the contract Motorola. So we were doing all the BTS install and stuff, and probably that's what helped us become a little bit more technical versus, just kind of out stacking towers. So
Yeah. But you did soup to nuts. You did tower foundations, wrapping your bar, rolling the mud, stacking the steel, structured cabling up the tower. And what do those first antennas look like, Randy?
Well, they were pretty big.
But there was only one line running to them, or two lines max running to them, wasn't there?
One line.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, single pole.
Yeah.
You remember? And most folks in the who are not a legend of wireless are not going to get this, but remember when they said, "Hey, we've got this new gig coming up, and we want you to work on it." They're called a pager. And,
Oh yeah, we actually did some work for a paging company.
Yeah. We did SkyTel. What was that? What big one in Denver?
A PageMart was ours.
PageMart.
PageMart. What a great name.
And then actually that was kind of an interesting time too, because I don't know if you remember, Jim, there's a satellite that either got ran into or something by another satellite, and it controlled most of the paging in the US.
Yeah.
And I remember that was one of our crisis moments where we were out, day and night for several months, I think, realigning, the uplink and downlink
Sure.
Satellites for the paging, so they get their paging network back in,
And they loved rooftops
back
too.
operational.
They would put rooftop. They would put those big 20-foot omnis up on a rooftop.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that they are hotter than a pistol in terms of RF propagation, but it only lasts that long. And they said, "Don't worry about it; it's just a burst." Well, if you get a burst and you do 700 bursts at the same time. Or consecutively, it's probably not the healthiest place for us to be, and we've come a long way since then.
Jim, are these stories you're supposed to be telling?
Well, I mean, other than the nervous twitch I now have, I think.
Jim, that's probably why we lost our hair.
What hair? That's probably why we lost our hearing.
Hearing too.
And I noticed we're the only two with glasses on, right? So wireless will get you a place where you can't hear, you can't see, and your hair falls out. That's good, man. I like this industry. People are going to be super happy.
Yeah, we never told anybody.
Told anybody what? See, we can't remember either. So we better get out of this conversation. Yeah, we'll never get anybody recruited in the industry now. It's a lot safer now. I mean, when we started, there was no such thing as an RF monitor. I actually started because my kid was climbing, and they were climbing. I was pretty sure he was going to die, and so I got in the industry just for safety reasons alone. And when you're a father in the industry, and I think Randy will support this, all of a sudden safety takes on new meaning, doesn't it?
It does, and we started safety programs before they had them. We started really early with that, in training and everything. We were way ahead of our competition when it came to that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of the folks who are at the high end of this industry, they, rather than say, "Hey, we're not going to do that, or we don't have to do that," they double down on it.
Oh, we did. We put a lot of money into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of us understood that repetitive muscle memory about just getting people to, like, I mean, in the early days, like, no, you put a hard hat on because somebody's working above you. And I don't know about you, but those bolts that fall, they might hurt.
Yeah.
It didn't take a lot of common sense to figure that out after the first one. I remember I almost got out of being a father because I was up on a tower in Port Angeles, Washington, and I dropped a MAP gas bottle, and it almost hit my kid on the low side. So that was before tool tethers and things like that. But the sound that a MAP gas bottle makes when it hits is really pretty cool.
Yeah.
Unless you're on the low side.
Yeah.
Unless you're on the low side.
Jeez.
All right. Okay. We're going to come back again next week with a little bit more of the chats with champions or the discussions with these two legends of wireless. But until then, hey, let's all choose safety today. This is Jim, and I am out.
Thanks for tuning in today, and join us every week. Tell your people to listen in and subscribe to OnRadio, the voice of everything wireless.